Hi, my name is Goldman. I'm the director and founder of Goldman and Associates. Our firm has a primary focus on family law issues here in Michigan, and we're continuing our video series designed to educate the public, so please subscribe to our channel. I want to take a moment and deviate from standard videos to talk a little bit about the lawyer's perspective about whether or not you should stay divorced for the sake of the kids. You know, I get that call a lot. We're not getting along, we don't see eye to eye on things, we've grown apart, but we have kids. Should we stay married until our youngest, turns 18 and is off to college, for example? And I suppose you got to look at what does that really mean? Is it a question of filing now or 6 months down the road, or is it a question of another 4 years? You got to look at it different ways. There are people who feel, you made your bed, you lie in it, and you've got to, stay in for the sake of the kids. And you've got to do that until at least they're off to college. There are people who feel that way. I will tell you my perspective. I don't feel that way. I feel that in a situation where there's an unhappy household, retaining that unhappy household for some fictitious sake of the children, I don't think that there's any merit to that. I don't think you will effectively be able to raise your children in an unhappy household where you and your soon-to-be ex are constantly bickering and fighting, and that's not an example to leave for the children. I mean, what example do you want to give them of what a marriage is supposed to look like? I mean, the first place they're going to look for that example is in their own household. And if they see, that marriage is a disaster because people are miserable and unhappy, that does not necessarily set a good example. In that situation, it might be better off to say to the children, look, we are your parents. We're always going to be your parents no matter what. We're not optimally involved in a relationship of a marital type, so therefore we're gonna terminate that relationship. But we're still going to be, as it relates to you, in the exact same juxtaposition. I'm your father. I'm always going to be your father. Your mother always going to be your mother, and we're going to parent in that way, not necessarily together, but we're going to co-parent overall. And if done effectively, this is a much healthier environment than staying together at each other's throats for the sake of the kids. A lot of times when you ask these kids later on, are you glad your parents stayed together for your sake? They'll say, are you kidding? They should have divorced a long time ago. They would have been happy. They could have found somebody else. Everybody would have been happy, So I think people who say, I want to stay in the divorce for the sake of the children, I think some of those people are really being earnest in their goal. A lot of them, though, are just afraid to move on, and they're using that as an excuse. If someone asks me my perspective, I will listen to the facts and see how long we're going to have to weather this bad relationship. But if it's a long time, if it's an abusive relationship, if it's in a relationship that is tearing at the parties and wearing them down so that after 2 or 3 years left of this, there's going to be nothing, I don't recommend that they stay in for that. I recommend that they get out and they make a happier life for themselves and ultimately for their families. If you have any questions about that or what my perspective would be in your case, give me a call. Be glad to help you out.